Hello, this is VOCookies56, and I'm doing my 9th Minecraft Forge modding tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're going to be doing GUI overlays. More specifically, we're going to be doing an HP bar, but you could do other things. Probably going to just put some text or something as well, just to show kind of what you can do. This isn't going to be too long because a lot of the stuff is the same as a standard GUI, other than there's no interaction. You know, you can't have a clickable button or anything because you're controlling the camera, so you don't have that control. But you could use keys, but we're not doing input. That'll be a tutorial at some point. Key input, or keybinds. Now I've also increased the font size in the editor. Can't change this font size, but this font size I can. And well, someone in the comments wanted me to make the font size bigger, so I've done it. Anyway, I've also updated to the newest MCP mappings, and which currently are, well, the date, but reversed. And font renderer is OBJ is now just font renderer. So we do have some errors here. So I'm just going to fix these quickly. That looks like that's it. So I've also, before we actually do it, in my GUI folder in the textures, I've made this HP bar texture, which is just called hpbar.png. And if I open this up, I'll show you basically what I've done. So it's a GUI texture, so it is 256 by 256, and if we look at this, we can see I have made it 102 pixels wide and 8 pixels tall. The size doesn't actually matter, but I've made this inside bit 100 pixels just to kind of have a nice width for an HP bar. And then basically with an HP, or with any bar, you want how the bar is, like the background of the bar. So when it's like empty or not completely full, the bit behind it is this basically, and also got an outline for it as well. It's 102 pixels because of the outline. And then this is the actual bar. So if I create a new layer, because this will otherwise look weird. So this area here is 102 pixels by 8, and then the inside is the same as this inside here. And if I then move this over, this will look like when the HP bar is completely full. So you want your actual bar to be the same size as the inside of the background. You don't actually have to have a background. You could just use this bar and not have anything else, and you get the same effect. So really depends on what you want to do, but this is basically how I've got it set up. So I'll close this out. Don't need that. And the main thing that we're going to need is, well, a new class for it, which we will call GUI HP bar. Actually, no, we'll just call it GUI overlay tutorial, because I'll do some other things in here. And we'll just extend GUI. I think we could do GUI screen, but it's not necessarily needed. And this is gonna give us the GUI, the various GUI related methods. But the main thing we need here is an event. So we're gonna do public void render overlay I guess we'll call it that. And what we want is render game overlay event. And we can't do it here, no, okay. Let's do subscribe event to make it an actual event. So the same as any other event, yeah, subscribe event, but because this isn't in our event handler class, we need to register it. So I'll do that now before I forget, otherwise you could, end up running the game and being like, why isn't it working? And, well, it's because you need to register it. So the same way as we did our event handler, you can do this as many times as you want. You could put an event inside your item. Doesn't matter. If it's, if it's an item related thing that you're only using for one item, you could put it in there. But this is not about events. This is having an overlay. So in the event we have type, which is basically the main thing we want. Because if we do if event type equals element type, let's say, is it now, that's what we want, text. Basically, you can render things at different things. So like helmet and boss health are completely different kind of points where the layers almost on the game overlay. But we want text because that is basically going to give us the best display, because if you render something, let's say on the health overlay, some of the colors go weird and stuff. Like basically, text is the way you want it. It's the layer that works the best. And we're gonna make, okay, let's just make some variables. Bar, we'll just call it. And I'm being an idiot. Resource location. And then we want our tutorial mod ID, and then textures, GUI, HP bar.png. Just doing that because then we can use this as many times as we want, although we're only going to use it once, but that's fine. So this is rather different to your standard GUI, as you're using an event rather than just simply opening a GUI. So what we want to do is, well, let's just, I don't even think we have MC, do we, because it's in GUI screen. That is fine. In fact, I will just do this. So we have MC. Render engine, bind texture, so we're just binding the textures, same as the GUI tutorial before. And then we're just gonna, in fact, let's make some more. Do we want it to be fine? Yeah, sure, why not? And it's 102 pixels. And why do I keep forgetting to put the type? I'm not going to do another line, let's just do this. The height, which is 8. So they're just variables, so we can use that rather than typing 102 and 8. And in fact, we probably want... do we want that? Yeah, I'll have... the bar width, which is 100, and the bar height, I don't know, we'll possibly use the height, which is just 6, so that's the inner part of it. And then we're going to draw the outline. For now, we'll just put it in the very top left corner of the screen, just to easily get it there. And then the texture's in the corner as well, so that's fine. And then we're just going to use text width and text height. I called it text just because it's texture, if that wasn't clear. And that should just draw the bar up in the top left corner of the screen. So if you don't want to make a bar, this is pretty much all you need to know, because you can now do pretty much anything you would do in a standard GUI like this, but now it renders on the screen. So in fact, we're gonna open up Minecraft right now, and the reason for this is that I want to show it first of all on the screen, and then we're gonna get to actually making the HP bar work, which isn't too hard to do. It requires a little bit of thinking, but it's pretty easy to do, and the fact I made it 100 pixels to make it very easy to understand, the maths at least. But you could do it, I don't know, 110 pixels or some weird number, you know, whatever works for you. So, as you can see, we have this bar up in the corner, which is now just, right now, just a empty bar that doesn't mean anything. So what we want to do is, well, let's say we draw the actual, the green bar on top of it, which is the same X, but it's directly underneath the top bar, so we'll just do that. So it goes from 8, which is the top of the green bar, and then we will use the same text width and text height for now, and then I will just refresh this, and there we go. That is the bar now rendered on top of it, but again, this is not that impressive. You could just have a texture that looks like that and not render two things, but you wouldn't be able to change the size of it then. So basically what we want to do is we want to change this to change size when your health goes down, well, to be like the width of your health. So bar width divided by the max health is, so that would be 100 divided by 20 currently, would equal 5, yeah, like that. And that would mean that if you're on 1 or half a heart, then the bar would be 5 pixels, not 1, but 5. And then for each one, that's, so I'm gonna call this, it's a bit of a weird thing to call this, but I'm gonna call it 1 unit, I guess. I mean, whatever makes sense, I guess, for you is really what you want this to be. And just to make sure, I'll cast this to I think that's already a float. I can see. Yeah, it is. It's a float. Because this could be decimal. Of course, you can't have half a pixel or anything, but for now we'll have it like that. So what we want then is well, we probably want this to be an int, is current width, which is, you know, this variable is going to be how wide the health bar is currently. So we're going to say 1 unit times, and then the player's health, which I believe is just get health, yes. And yeah, okay, we need to cast that to an int. So the current width will be, so if we've got max health, then it'll be 100, and then it'll be a full bar. So if we change this, although this is going to be, this should be, although I guess it is 102. We could, nah, won't use that. What I'm going to do is we're going to move it 1 pixel. What we're going to use, yeah, okay, so bar width and bar height, so that's 106 rather than 102 and 8. And then again, we're going to have bar, well, we're not going to use bar width, we're going to use current width and then bar height, because the height isn't going to change, which, you know, that makes sense. But what will change is, now we've got an extra variable for some reason. We're going to, oh, you know what? No, that's me being, what am I doing? Oh, right. Yes, okay. We want bar width minus current width, because so it's at 0. So let's open up let's just make this easier to understand. Right now, we're at 0, and that's gonna render it all the way along here. But what we want is, no, that's actually a really stupid way to do it. What am I doing? We're gonna keep that at 0. Oh my god, this is a mess. We're gonna change this width, because that is the width that determines where the end is from the start, which makes way more sense. And this can just be current width. There we go. And the reason I've done 1, 1 is just because it's it would be here, like that. No, like that, yeah. And we want it to shift 1 pixel. Oh god, I should have done this on a new layer. No, don't duplicate the wrong button. We're gonna say move 1 along and 1 down, like that. And that will get it in the right position. So, assuming I haven't messed up something, I have messed up something. What have I messed up? Yeah, why did I change that? We still want text height. I shouldn't have changed these values at all. That's fine. And okay, that's odd that it is in this. Well, okay, fine. What? Okay, now I just moved it 1 pixel, and now it's, what? Okay, that's very weird. Is it because I'm still let's... It's possibly because of that. And now it's too far down. Okay, let's just leave it there. Some trial and error here, but now that's almost right. What is the value of current width? Let's just find out. Let's just print it out. The best way to debug this. I could have... It could be that the width is lower than it should be. It's 100. Okay. That's good. That's what it should be. If I move this along 1, it's now... Why is it not wide enough? That's really weird. I suppose it... Oh, you know what it is? It's probably this. Move it along 1. And now... Yeah, okay. Let's get rid of that, because that's going to spam the console. Perfect. Right. So... That was... That was a little bit more hassle than I thought it was going to be. Basically, the reason why that wasn't working was because it was being 100 from there, which would be there, which should be that size, rather than moving along 1. That was a bit of a mistake, but oh well. It works now. Let's just test getting hurt. So let's go to survival mode, and well, the apple's quite helpful here. And you can see that the HP bar is going down. Of course, you could use this kind of bar for other things. If you ended up adding like magic or something, you could have a magic bar. You could have progress bars on a standard GUI if you wanted to. Of course, this isn't an exclusive thing to overlays, but this is a kind of more common thing you'd want to do on an overlay, which is render a health bar. Well, maybe not a health bar, but some bar, and that you know, you could... The other thing that I haven't gone through is doing the same... oh god. Doing the same thing, but with... God damn it. That apple. It's so dangerous. Doing the same thing, but backwards, so the bar would fill that way. It's a little bit more complicated with the maths, because you're not working with... You're basically changing... Well, you want... Because you can't go backwards, at least... Actually, I don't know if you can. I actually haven't tried that. Let's just try that out, might as well. So, let's say we start at the very end of the bar. We'll just put 101, and then we're going to say minus. I don't know if it allows for negative values. Doesn't look like it. No, didn't think it would. So you can't do that. You can't just say start at the end of the bar, and then the width could be negative to be, you know, so it goes that way. Unfortunately, what you need to do is change where it starts, rather. So let's say your bar is like a little bit full here. You want the coordinate of where it starts to be here, and then as the health bar goes up, it needs to move backwards, and then the width also needs to change. So it's a bit more involved, but I don't think I need to go through that in this tutorial, because that's something that you can figure out with, maybe if you think about it, it's not too hard to do. In fact, I have done it with my mod Kingdom Keys. There's a lot of bars that go that way. However, it's much easier to demonstrate it going this way. And also, a thing to mention is that since we're using the max health rather than using 20 as our value. If there's any mods that increase the player's max health or decrease it, then the HP bar will still work with it and it won't break. Because otherwise, the bar's just broken. What have I done? I guess I haven't refreshed this. That's probably what it is. Yeah. So that's basically how you can, first of all, render stuff on the HUD, just like any of this stuff down here. If we press F1, it hides as well, since it's part of it. And the other thing I've done is progress bars, or health bars. It could be used for a progress bar as well. It just, oh right, yeah, that's probably because of rounding, possibly. Let's find out. Let's print out, first of all, what is 1 unit? It should be 5, yep. What is current width? 0. That's interesting. Why is that? And health should be 1, I believe. What? Okay, that's weird. I had no clue your health could even... What? Isn't... I thought health was supposed to be whole numbers. Right. So, that is a bit of a complication, because that means that I got rid of the apple. I can't easily take damage. What's the easiest way to do this? Perfect. So, that's how it should be. But it's 0, which is... a bit of a problem. If you're not working with floats, it's much easier, because there's no... what you probably want to do to fix this is round, because if you convert a float to an integer, it simply just removes the decimal. So if you have 1.9 and you convert that into an integer, it becomes 1, not 2. So there's problems that can occur like that. And of course you'd want to round rather than just simply turning it into an integer. Yes, so thank you for watching, and next tutorial I will do containers, that is coming, but I just want to do, before we do that, because this is actually related to it, I'm going to do a tutorial on NBT. And there's a couple of places we can do that. In fact, I guess I could combine it with a tile entity, because tile entities don't really, kind of the whole point in the tile entity is the NBT data. So, thank you for watching. Goodbye. If this video helped you, then give it a like, and if you want to see more, subscribe. And if you want to support me, go to patreon.com/WeHaveCookies56.